Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? One of the things that I really want to dive into here is this idea about emotions, because I agree with you. We do have the ability to retrain our brain. We know about neuroplasticity. We know about this idea of, repetitive usage in the language that we have. We know about all of these things that happen. But sometimes people really leverage emotions to be the thing that often becomes a scapegoat for possibility in their life. One of the things I'm curious about, and you've said this before, is that emotions, they aren't good or bad, and that feelings are signals. What do you mean by that?
Well, our brain naturally doesn't want to feel bad. So when we say pain is our motivator, we're trying to get it motivates me to drink and eat and, you know, go shopping so I don't have to think about it. I like to run away from those feelings that I consider bad. And our brain literally categorizes everything into good and bad. It's like, I lose my job, that's bad. I get a raise, that's good. And the thing is, all things work together for our good. And you can see how now you can see that your past is actually helping millions of people. Your goal is to reach internationally around the world. You have big goals of using what appeared to be horrible and painful and what we would categorize as that's that's bad, and you've made good out of it. And so I believe all of us have the opportunity to make every single thing that happens work for us. And I believe the universe is for us. So even when it's seemingly, and that's the key word there, seemingly, because our brain is programmed, fight or flight or rest. And it's programmed that way. And so if we can look at emotions as signals that my emotion needs something, instead of just being closed to this is bad, I need to run, this is okay, I'm going to relax, we can actually dive deeper and acknowledge I'm feeling angry right now. And usually I feel angry because I don't get my way. So anything that happens during the day that didn't go the way I planned, I'm like, ugh, it can irk me really easily. And so when I look at that and think, okay, I feel irked because I didn't get my way, and my way is the best way, right? So I think that that's the way it should go. But then when it doesn't, it's when I take a look at what is my anger telling me. It's like my anger is telling me I want to be acknowledged. My anger is telling me I like it my way. What can I do next time when I don't get my way that would still be a way to acknowledge and honor the way I feel? Because I think what happens is, the other thing is, as men, I think you're taught, don't cry. And it's okay to be angry, but for a woman it's not ladylike to be angry. So that we have that too, where society tells us this is okay for you to feel, this isn't okay for you to feel. And so that adds to, am am I doing something right? And it doesn't have to be right or wrong, it's a signal. What does it need? So kind of using like a question pattern of like, what is this signal of being angry telling me, and what do I want to do with it next time? Or how am I going to honor my anger? Is there something I can do? I remember this coach had me break bottles because I was angry, and we came up, well, what would feel good to my anger? And it just came to me that breaking glass would feel good. And so I found a way to uh, safely break some bottles that I could clean up. And it felt good. And it was like, it's just a way, it usually, our emotions need to be released. And so EFT is another way to release them without, breaking glass. Cause I told myself I would never do that again because I did not like cleaning it up. So tapping is easier for me.
Yeah, and what a great analogy for life, right? We have to clean up the glasses that we break. And I think what's really fascinating about this is understanding, yes, you can make meaning of the emotions that come once you get, I think, a little bit closer into understanding who you are, understanding the emotional capacity, having a coach, having therapy, doing the work, the whole nine. Because if you would have told me what you just said 15 years ago, I'd be like, you're out of your mind. Like that makes no sense to me, right? And I think there is a process for this to make a lot of sense. You do have to do a bit of work around it, and I think that's because trauma, these events that have happened and the trauma that comes along with it, those are triggers that are trapped and entangled inside of our emotions, right? How do you manage that, where on the one hand, yes, you're like, okay, I can reframe this, I can create a change in the way that I process and make meaning of these things, but I still feel so trapped or entangled inside of those traumatic events and experiences? How do you navigate that? How do you like start to reframe around that?
So those events become almost a part of us. It's, when we have events, it kind of runs a program in our brain. So what happens is you have a traumatic event and your brain is now programmed with this event. And so when I think of something, I run it through my broken thinking because that's what happened to me and the program was instilled in my thinking. And so it's natural for me to run my program of I'm afraid, if I leave my full-time job and start my own business, I'm afraid um I'm going to be a loser without any money. And it's because of past trauma experiences that are instilled in my brain that when I get a thought or a fear, it runs the program of my broken thinking. And so we have to rewire it to different thinking. And you know, that's why we get help, because a lot of times we can't see our own broken thinking, and that's why we can't do it alone. I don't know anyone who has been able to reprogram their broken thinking alone. We need each other, and that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about being a coach. I want to pass on what someone passed on to me. I want to teach what tools worked better than anything else. And I want to help people. I want to get the information out there, and that's what I think you're doing with your podcast and your life, is that you really want people to know there is a solution, there is hope.